Hi guys, my name is Lucas, also known as Lucas Dosky. Yeah, I'm a skit maker, a content creator, a cinematographer, and some people call me a comedian. I don't consider myself a comedian though, because if I stay with you, I'm not sure I can make you laugh. But my content will make you laugh too. I aspire to make people smile. That is my aspiration in this life, to see how I can touch people with my life. Just by somebody seeing me and saying, oh, I like how this guy lives his life. I don't need to come and meet you and tell you that I want you to change your ways, or like you can just see it from me and be like, oh, I love how this guy is doing and I want to emulate him. That is like my aspiration in life. It's a story about how Lucas Dosky was made from a, let me say, probably being a timid person, like how I gained the confidence I have, how I became me, this self-confident man you see sitting here. So I could date this back to 2019. I just gained admission into the university. So I was in University of Abuja and I was studying agriculture, crop science to be precise. And 1 week into school, I could remember this vividly because the day I was supposed to go to school, my dad already promised to take me to school, drive me, take my stuff to school. But that morning, he just said he don't think he can drive, that we have to take public transport. Oh my gosh, like that day, I felt heartbroken and I was pissed at my dad. I was pissed at my dad for saying something like that, for falling my hand. Actually, that's what I would say. Now, 1 week into my 100 level, I didn't know that was the last experience I will have seeing my dad again. And every time I think about that, it always saddens me because I didn't know the last experience I will have with my dad is me being angry with him. So 1 week later, I lost my dad and he just died. He slept and didn't wake up. That was how the whole thing basically happened. So after that, my mom is just a petty trader. What she do is she sells kunu. If you know what kunu is, that is what she sells. So now, I was in the university. My brothers were also in the university. And I was even staying off K. Getting transportation to school was not easy. Like, it was a very difficult moment. And every time I keep thinking to myself, how will I finish up this schooling thing? I don't even know. Well, I managed to scale through my 100 level, and thank God, it wasn't easy at that moment. There were ups, there were downs, but everything went out smoothly. And then during that period, my brother introduced me to some books. Those things were considered self-help books, and I know how Nigerians kick against. They say, motivational speaker, they will tell you this one and that one, rubbish, all those kind of things. But I could tell you those things brought out the actual light in me. So I was done with 100 level, and then we were about to start 200 level. And I was in school. While I was combining my schoolwork, I was also trying to see how I can educate myself by reading self-help books to see how I can keep myself going. Now, during this period, it was like I was not really, because it's schoolwork now, I have to see how I can focus on school more. And I was just trying my best to see how I can keep myself going. And I wasn't doing bad in school either, because at least in my department, I could say I was at least among the top 10th in my department. I was doing well in school. So that year was when Corona hit. Corona hit that year. Same thing as ASU strike. So during that period, I was back at home and I was like, oh, I needed money. Back then, I used to sell pure water. I followed one pure water truck. Man, we used to go and deliver pure water, and also I was doing all of those. During that period, my brothers were at home, and while people were saying, oh my gosh, lockdown is happening, they were reading books and they kept telling me, see this book, oh, I think it would be nice for you to read it. At first I was locked and I was like, oh, me, I hate all these book things, these things are very boring. Why will I just settle down and be reading books when I'm not in school? School is on vacation and me, I'll be here reading books. Then after some while, I started picking interest in few books because my brother always watched all these motivational videos, and then I was seeing stories about successful people who had all the odds against them, and despite everything, they were able to pull through. I was like, okay. So the first book my brother gave me was a book called 13 Secrets School Will Not Teach You About How to Be Rich. Now, I'm not trying to kick against school or anything, but that book kind of opened my eyes to certain things, because we live in a world where sometimes we are ignorant of what is happening. We are ignorant of the decisions we make. People just make decisions, they push us to them, and we accept them. So I felt like that book opened my eyes to a specific awareness towards life. And then secondly, he gave me a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a book that helps you to build human relationship. Now, things like these are things they won't teach you in school. Obviously, in school, they can only teach you the biochemistry, physics, and all those things. But things like human relationship, these are very important things. Nobody was teaching us all these things. So, the small time I had from work, I used to read all these books. Small. And then I started developing interest in reading books. Fast forward to a few weeks later, I stopped that job. And I could tell you, during Corona, people were complaining about how they were staying indoors, lockdowns and everything. This was the time I started transforming my life. I was reading no less than, there was a point I was reading no less than 2 books every week. Now, I was reading these books, I was broke. Like when I say I was broke, I was flat broke. I didn't have anything. I was staying at my mom's. But I was enriched in my spirit, and I realized that I was only broke, I wasn't poor. Like I had knowledge, just that it has not started manifesting. Yeah, that was quite funny here. So after this whole thing, I was reading books, and those books taught me things like self-confidence. They let me know that I could do anything I want to do. Those books built my mindset. So at that point, once any of us finish reading a book, we recommend to the next person, and then me and my brothers, we sit down together and we analyze the book. We talk about our favorite takeaways. Obviously, there are points that we might not agree with the writer. We'll talk about those points too. So after everything, Corona was over and it was time for us to go back to school. But now, my mom was not having anything. Neither of us were having anything. Now, I sat down, I looked at myself. I asked myself, what do you want to do? Why are you studying agriculture in school? That was what Jam gave me. But is that what you really wanted? I said no. Now, I made the best decision of my life, which many might say is the stupidest decision, because I know many will come to my comment section and still tell me that that was a very dumb decision. I dropped out of school. Now, my mom could not pay my tuition. Even if I want to hustle and invest into something, I didn't see myself investing into something that is not what I even really wanted. Now, some of you will tell me, the school is important, education is important. Who told you I stopped getting education? Education is what I get every day. The school gives you education and a certificate, but it gives you a different type of education. If I pick up my phone today and search on Google, how do I achieve this? I've educated myself. Now, mind you, all this period, I started learning video editing. I'm a cinematographer today, and I never for once attended any cinematography school. I'm also a web developer. I didn't attend any school. It was just from online courses, searching online, and everything I was doing, I was just looking for the means to do it from the cheapest way possible. I didn't even have a laptop. Back then I didn't have a laptop. We had just one laptop in our house, and everybody was trying to acquire a skill. We used to ration how we use that laptop. My brother will use from afternoon to so time. At that point, I was the person that was using it last. I have to be waking up every day around 1 o'clock, do night sub, watch a course online, do night sub, cheap night sub of 25 naira for 500 MB. Then I'll do the night sub, watch that course, screen record it while doing it so that I can come back to it later in the day. I was waking up every night. Now, these were the efforts I put in. And by the time I left school, my mom didn't know. She didn't know I've left school. Like, funny enough, this woman was trying. I was going to school, and I could tell you the only thing she gave me was 5K. She didn't have anything, and I couldn't bother her. Here was I about to start life with just 5K in my pockets. I left to school, and funny enough, I can't even tell you how I scaled through. The house I was staying back then, it was me and my brother. The laptop we were using, it was one laptop he later got, and the laptop, you can use that laptop to iron clothes. You understand? So fast forward to years later, my mom found out I left school, and as usual, a typical African mother, she cried, and some of our relatives came. They said they want to have a meeting with us. I told them, I didn't tell you I'm dropping out of school to go and useless my life. Mind you, I'm dropping out of school because I want to further myself in a better space. Now, typically, they won't understand because obviously they didn't see the vision I was aiming for. So, it wasn't easy. It was hard. It wasn't easy at all. I won't lie to you. Moving out, starting a new life, trying to see how. I nearly died, but all this while, I was just silent and tried to see how I can expatiate on my skills. And over time, I was meeting new people. I go out. Most times, you don't look like what you are going through. Till now, I might still be going through things you don't even know, because I can't just come and carry mic and start announcing that I'm going through things. So we learn how to deal with things ourselves. So that was pretty much my story, and you can call it a grass to grace, but I feel like I'm still in the process of grace because I'm not really where I want to be yet. And I could tell you that till date, I'm still staying in the trench, even though if I go out, people don't believe that. I stay in a trench area, but I know that that place is temporary because I have my bigger goals that I want to accomplish. So when you see me and you feel like, oh, this guy came from a very solid background, I could tell you one thing. All I ever did was I just believed in myself. And my story to you today is that things can be hard from the beginning. It doesn't matter what your story is. What matters is your determination. For you to know where you want to head to. Where are you heading to? Now, I could tell you that my mom is super proud of me. Time to time, I do call her, oh, mommy, let me send you small something for light bill and things like that. Now, I am able to help her. Even though I've not been able to help her to the point I want to, but at least I know I'm growing and I keep seeing progress each day. So, well, that is pretty much my story. There's this Bible verse, Philippians 4:13. Yeah, I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. Like I said, in my lifetime, I've learned one thing, and that one thing is that whatever you want in this life, you can accomplish it as long as you put your mind to it. There's this song by my favorite rapper. The title of that song is Love Yours. Over time, if there's something I've learned, is that you just have to learn to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, no one else can love you the way you get. So that song, he talks about the song titled Love Yours. He said, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. If you think you want to acquire, there's always a car bigger than the one you've got. There's always a girl prettier than the girl you have. So until you learn how to be contented with what you have, that list continue going on. So you just have to find your happiness within yourself. My advice to the next generation is always believe in yourself. What are your goals? Stop saying, I want to do this, I want to do this. Get into the action. Take a pen, write out your goals. Set a date for it. Say before the end of so day, I want to finish, I want to make sure I've accomplished this goal. Work on it. If you don't accomplish it by the end of that month, set another date and try again. With that, you realize that there are limitless opportunities to things you can do.